Do you like surfing but are worried about sharks? Do you want to watch content that, for frankly no good reason, isn't available in your country? Do you find yourself making questionable online searches but would prefer that your search history stays that way? History. Well, browse no further than Surfshark, who I'm proud to announce are kindly sponsoring today's video. That's right, your boy Jim done got sponsored again. And what's even better than me getting sponsored? You. Getting 83% off and 3 extra months free when you enter promo code Jimchi at surfshark.deals/Jimchi. How'd you like that, chum? Surfshark uses advanced technology that is beyond my comprehension to secure your data when browsing online, even when you're looking for those ancient demonic tomes you'll never get your mitts on. And with apoplectic encryptions and surfs up offshore servers, your private information stays private. Even better, this technology means you can access gazillions of global entertainment that you can sit back and enjoy wherever you are in the world. I didn't even know half these shows existed. Friends? It's fast, easy to use, gym-packed with features, and you can run it on as many devices as you like. Oh, and did I mention that you get an absolutely incredible 83% off and 3 extra months free when you enter promo code Jimchi at surfshark.deals/Jimchi. I mean, come on, guys. If you're going to surf, surf smart with Surfshark. Now on with the video. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes. Good. All right. I think that is everything we'll need. You must be the transfer student. Wonderful. Konnichiwa. Hajimemashite. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Yes, well, my name is Rupert, Giles, if you like. I am here today to talk to you about some of the things we do here at the Watchers Council, to exchange ideas and to hopefully show you a little bit about how we do things differently here in England. Wonderful. So I'm from a line of watchers, 3 generations to be precise. As I recall, I was informed at the age of 10 that I would become a watcher. Then I was summarily off to study horror and death alongside Latin and geometry. My father, he was one, and his mother before him, and I was to be next. I had very definite plans of what I was going to do. I was going to be a fighter pilot or a grocer. Well, my father gave me a very tiresome speech about responsibility and sacrifice, so here I am learning how to be a watcher. I understand it's quite different where you're from, and so I suppose the best place to begin would be at the beginning to explain a little bit about what we do. So, a watcher's role is, well, for lack of a better phrase, to watch. I don't necessarily mean that the sole function of the watcher is to prepare, train the Slayer, whoever she may be, but holistically quite so to watch for signs, watch for changes, watch for threats, and to hopefully stay one step ahead of perpetual doom, I suppose. Well, that aside, obviously we spend most of our time here studying, compiling knowledge that we can use in conjunction with the Slayer in order to not only best utilize her, but to best utilize our knowledge and observations to turn the tide of the battle against evil. And for that we have very specific tools at our disposal. For instance, possibly the most complete attempt by man to record and codify the laws of magic. Initially, it began as a study of vampirism, which at the time of the book's completion was the greatest threat to mortal kind. The scope of the book grew over time, and with that so did the book's power. And I mean, I have to be quite honest with you, it's probably become the most definitive book on magic in the world. And that is, of course, Vampire, or as we colloquially know it, the Slayer's Handbook. Now, this is in fact, if you can believe it or not, an abridged version of the handbook. And the reason it's abridged is because we found the original editions to be quite bulky and cumbersome, and it's a book that requires a certain amount of response time, so trawling through pages and pages of text about magic and vampires can be problematic if you are in the middle of a heated battle, for example. Now, whilst I have mentioned that the book is primarily focused on vampires and the vanquishing thereof, there is a wealth of information regarding magic, magical practices that we can use. I don't necessarily mind admitting, but I was known to be a little bit of a warlock in my earlier days, certainly, until the responsibility of being a watcher neatly, squarely, and loftily fell onto my shoulders. So I thought that it might be helpful for you to understand more about what we do if we review and take a look at some of the content in the Slayer's Handbook. Wonderful. Well, let's take a look. Oh, I know that vampires can vary from location to location, from continent to continent, and I suppose it would only be polite for me to say that I appreciate there may be differences between vampires here and vampires there, so just to clarify or demark precisely what kind vampires we're talking about. We are talking about vampires who are the progeny, I suppose, of the last demon who left our reality as we know it, who fed off a human and mixed their blood. And obviously he was a human form then possessed by a demon, of course, and infected by the soul of a creature that had never truly existed in a corporeal form within our world, I suppose. And well, of course, the story goes that rather much how these things do. Of course, he bit another, and they bit another, and so they walk the earth, feeding, living for eternity, killing some people, mixing their blood with others, and basically procreating on quite a large pandemic-like scale. And with that in mind, of course, we, the Watchers, work in conjunction with the Slayer in order to slow down or completely prevent this proliferation of vampiric souls. I'm sure it's much the same where you're from, but just to add a little context there. So, let's take a look in the book, I suppose. Now, there are a lot of pages, but I thought that rather than dive in at some of the magic or magic, we would take a look at some of the secrets to killing vampires. Yes, wonderful. So, this, like I said, it's second edition, so it's redacted slightly from the original. There was an awful lot of Latin in the original, and it just became fairly inaccessible to a lot of different people. It's a much more slimline version with extra information. For instance, even things that you wouldn't necessarily consider to be important to vanquishing vampires. We have astronomy terms, for instance, Aberration of Starlight, the change in the position of a star, Aphelion, the point at which an object in solar orbit is farthest from the Sun, Apogee, the point at which an orbiting object is farthest from the Earth, Asteroid, Azimuth, horizontal bearing of a celestial object measured clockwise from a given direction. Try remembering that, you know. Declination, double star, binary, ecliptic, equinox, meteorite, nadir, nebula, nova. Anyway, we're not here to talk about astronomy or the atmosphere. We're here to discuss the undead. Well, the human form, thoracic vertebrae, dorsal vertebrae, pardon me. Of course, Buddhist terms, karma, mandala, mantra, nirvana, brush. I am so sorry. I do tend to get a little distracted. I can only put cakes and biscuits. Why would they be? They shouldn't be in the same section. The difference between a cake and a biscuit, well, one goes stale and the other goes soft. Ah, here we are. Wood. wood is one of the primary ways to ward off and kill a vampire. Oh, don't just mean holding a piece of wood. For instance, here. Just a normal piece of wood, obviously, but what we can do is turn these pieces of wood, otherwise completely useless. You could be building a thing into that, could you? We can shave these down. It's rather cathartic. I recommend it highly. Into a stack. Yes. Classic vampire lore, but accurate. Nevertheless, one can take a piece of wood, rather like this, and just shave down until it's to a point, and then once it is no longer a block of wood but a stake in of itself, plunge it into the heart of the vampire, and well, Bob's your uncle. Well, dead uncle, I suppose. Yes, usually the vampire will explode into eviscerated dust particles, and it's quite the sight to behold. As watchers, we really get the chance to be combat ready, but it's an experience for sure. So wood, yes, always try to carry a stake with you. I usually go for smaller pieces of wood because it's more practical. You can pop one in your pocket. Some people favour going all out and having a big, old, sort of biblical stake, but no, I prefer a derringer version, a lady's stake. Yes, and yes, the process is relaxing, so I recommend giving that a go. Fire. Now, it's a common misconception that demons and demon souls are at home in fire. We have to remember that the demon itself is inhabiting a physical body, and therefore is not in its demonic form. And certainly it's also worth remembering that the lower levels of hell are in fact very, very cold. And so another tool that you can use with a vampire is fire. They're awfully scared of it, and even a tiny flame like this can really put one off the scent, I suppose. It also might just make tiny, tiny steaks. Speaking of fire, of course, let's see, pardon me, the difference between borscht and a bisque. It's all soup, I suppose. Oh yes, there's all kinds of things. There's actually recipes here as well for budding alchemists or chaos mages. Whatever you want, really, I guess. It's all in the guidebook. Ah, here we are. The sun. melanosis. Now, vampires are deathly allergic to the sun, rather much like I feel I'm allergic to a hot bath that's run too long. It can be very disquieting and uncomfortable for the vampire to be exposed to direct sunlight. It doesn't necessarily kill them immediately. It also, depending on the strength or the antediluvian nature of the demon, the effect can vary greatly. But on the whole, direct sunlight will eviscerate the vampire. Vampires can shield themselves from sunlight ever so slightly, and as long as they are not in direct contact with sunlight, they're more than likely to be alright. Still, it's a good one to know, and of course it's relevant as it relates to fire. Yes. Next, decapitation. Just completely lopping the head of the body. It seems unusual to even classify this as a means of being able to dispatch a vampire, but as I'm sure you're aware, the decapitation has a rather similar effect when used on humans, but nevertheless it is an effective form of dispatchment of vampires. Decapitating a vampire will ensure that, well, all being well, it won't return. Yes, holy items. Yes, the Bible is always a good book to keep on you, as well as the Slayer's Handbook, but old-fashioned holy items work wonders for staving off a vampire attack. The cross, for example, is very effective at keeping them at bay and will, when in contact with the skin, cause abrasions or burning. Depending on the strength of the vampire, they may be able to melt it or disintegrate it or turn it into its atomic form. A Corpus Christi is more effective than a simple cross, but nevertheless both are must-haves when confronting vampires, as is holy water. Even a small amount of holy water can scald or burn or certainly discourage a vampire from advancing upon you. That being said, there are combinations you can use the holy water with. You could dip weaponry into the sanctified solution, or simply use it in, dare I say, a water pistol. Yes, but a very effective form of defense against the undead. And I suppose the final thing would be garlic. Just as leaving conkers out can stave away spiders, garlic too can be effective at keeping away vampires. And those are the primary methods we teach here at the Watchers Council to prepare slayers and demon hunters alike in the eternal struggle against the vampire, whose primary focus and concern is the acquisition of blood, Santa Sangra, Sanguis, I apologise, I've gone on quite a bit. Listen, we have a fencing club after school. Usually we try to fit in some jiu-jitsu and aikido as well. You'd be more than welcome to join us if you'd like to let off some steam or to show us how it's done. Regardless, it's been very helpful for me to review some of the information, and if you like, if you promise to return it, of course, I'll happily lend you my copy of the Slayer's Handbook, just for some light reading or whatever. Yes, oh, jolly good. Yes, Rupert, but you can call me Giles. It's a pleasure.